It is Monday, July 21st.
This is The Warning.
Today, we must talk about something that is essential to be talked about in the United States. Something that every American should feel a deep attachment to. And that is to the issue of human rights. This doesn't have anything to do with a political party. This has to do with patriotism. This has to do with who we are as a people, what our nation stands for. This discussion requires an understanding of our history, the evolution, the sacrifices, many of them blood sacrifices, that have taken the concept that all are created equal as a self-evident truth and expanded it under law to mean all people. Since the beginning of the country, the founding of the country, events have transpired. The abuses against Native Americans, against the American Indian by the government of the United States in the 19th century. Abuses against Japanese Americans, American citizens in the aftermath of the Pearl Harbor attack. Abuses of African Americans, slavery in the post-Reconstruction era, during the reigns of terror across the South by the Ku Klux Klan and by Jim Crow. Even during the Iraq War, we saw what happens when there is a disconnection from our values. We saw Abu Ghraib. We saw torture in the aftermath of 9/11. John McCain spoke about this on the Senate floor.
I rise in support of the long-delayed release of the Senate Intelligence Committee's summarized unclassified review of the so-called enhanced interrogation techniques that were employed by the previous administration to extract information from captured terrorists. It's a thorough and thoughtful study of practices that I believe not only failed their purpose to secure actionable intelligence to prevent further attacks on the U.S. and our allies, but actually damaged our security interests as well as our reputation as a force for good in the world. I believe the American people have a right, indeed responsibility, to know what was done in their name, how these practices did or did not serve our interests.
A Supreme Court justice once famously remarked regarding pornography that he knew it when he saw it. Well, that's what Tom Homan is, standing on the White House lawn. He is a thug out of Trump's imagination for what a government thug should be. What a man who would implement what Trump thinks of a weirdo, Stephen Miller's orders to build concentration camps.
I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. And I'm going to work very hard with Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone. You don't want to let us into jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, which makes it unsafe for the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Anything can happen on a street arrest. So what we're going to do, we're going to have more agents in New York City to look for that bad guy. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want, more agents in the community and more agents in the work site. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of the county jail, then we'll arrest him in the community, and we'll arrest him in the jail. And when we arrest him in the community, if he's with others that are in the country illegally, they're coming too.
Who is that man? The blusterer, the tough talker, the men who wear the masks. Who will defend those men and call them heroes and patriots to please one man? And that man is Tom Homan, a little Eichmann. And what Tom Homan commands now is the equivalent of the 15th largest military in the world. And it is an army of abuse. And it is un-American. And there will be a reckoning because these men are faithless to the Constitution. These men are faithless to American values. We should call the concentration camp by its name, and we should know the truth about the abuses that are taking place under Tom Homan's command by Tom Homan's men. Human Rights Watch has issued a report, and it is necessary to hear the words of that report. Now, here's Tom Homan saying that these abusers, they're the creme de la creme. America's 1% are warriors. They're no such thing. What they are is masked thugs with a federal license to siege any town in America by a man who wishes to be a tyrant who has succeeded in getting his appointed sociopaths confirmed by a feckless Senate. What they are doing is assaulting liberty and every notion of it. Their conduct would appall the founders of the United States and any person who has an appreciation for justice.
I think it's important for the court not to burden otherwise lawful law enforcement activities. Your reaction there?
Look, people need to understand, ICE officers and Border Patrol, they don't need probable cause to walk up to somebody, briefly detain them, and question them. They just need the totality of the circumstances, right? They just got through the observation, get articulable facts based on their location, their occupation, their physical appearance, their actions. Like if a uniformed Border Patrol agent walks up to them at for instance, a Home Depot. And they got all these articulable facts, plus the person walks away or runs away. Agents are trained. What they need to detain somebody temporarily and question them. It's not probable cause, it's reasonable suspicions. We're trained on that. Every agent, every 6 months, get Fourth Amendment training over and over again. These officers are really good at what they do. And if the judge would make a decision that's against what these officers are trained, what the law is based upon, then they're going to shut down operation. I think that's your end game. They want ICE to stop doing this. But if they base it on the rule of law, they're going to find out Border Patrol and ICE is doing exactly what they're going to do in accordance with law.
And you're not going to stop coming. Tom Homan, thank you for getting up with us this morning.
Tom Homan's men are the gravest threat in this nation since King George's stampeded the countryside at the very beginning. It is intolerable, and it must be repudiated peacefully, electorally, and ferociously. And it must be called out by words, and it must be documented so that those who are responsible for it will be held to account when the long arm of justice reaches out for them in the reckoning that is sure to come, that always comes when the rights of human beings are reduced to nothing, and that human being becomes less than an animal, an insect in the eye of the state. There is no war, but Tom Homan has an army, and he has an audience looking for sadism on Fox News, where propagandists like Harris Faulkner make millions of dollars to deliver it. If you do a good enough job, you get to where Brett Baer got, a $40 million house right down the street from Donald Trump's in Palm Beach, where he and his best friend Jeffrey Epstein used to have parties for two at Mar-a-Lago. But that's a story for a different day. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.